Hello, my lovelies. Angela O'Hare here, your favorite Las Vegas realtor.
And I'm Rob Howe, Rockstar Realtor on YouTube.
Yes, I hope everyone's doing well this beautiful March.
Yeah.
We are going to jump right into friggin' summer. I saw it's going to be in the high 80s in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, this might even touch the 90s.
Yeah, and this is very unusual weather for March. But before we talk about weather, wish Rob a happy 50th birthday. He turned 50 yesterday. And what did you do?
Well, I had a great weekend. I had a party for everybody to get together, and as you know, I play music, and so they indulged me while my band rocked out, and it was a great night. Really good weekend. And then yesterday I went to the ballpark with some friends and my girlfriend, and watched they call it Big League Weekend.
Oh, nice.
So major leaguers were playing there, and then we hung out with mom and my girlfriend for, of course, on my birthday, International Women's Day. So of course I had to hang out with my ladies in my life.
Yeah, of course.
And didn't get to hang out with you, but
no, we're here now.
You had a great weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. What did we do? Work,
Yeah.
Always working.
I definitely had some work in there too. It wasn't it's too busy right now. I can't just take time off,
Yeah. So, and with this weather, I can't even speak today. Abnormally, unexpected weather. Normally in spring, we're not this hot, or normally not in March. Yeah. March is typically our windy season, windy month, I should say. But right now, this is like May weather, in my opinion.
It's getting closer to that.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. I hope that, yes, I love 80-degree weather, but I would prefer to stay in the 70s and 60s for a minute, right? And then have a nice spring and not just jump right into 80-degree weather. But that means I can also hang out by the pool sooner.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We still might have third winter.
We had the second.
We definitely had second winter.
We had our second winter. We may have our third. I doubt it, but we shall see. So we're going to be going over the numbers for February 2026 in this issue. And it was very shocking numbers. And I know Rob has commented, and I've seen other real estate agents comment on the LV or Las Vegas Review Journal headlines where they were being very deceptive and making it sound like the median price was worse than what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just negative headlining, right? They just got to get people to, I don't know.
They're turning into YouTube, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're turning into, definitely that social media clickbait thing. You don't want to see that from a somewhat reputable newspaper. But I think they're struggling, and they want to grab a hold of what works. And right now, the negative news sells. It always does.
Yeah. I saw another agent post about the same thing about it. And so
did you?
Yeah.
What did they say?
Well, they were like the negative connotation about how the median price was down 6%.
0.06.
Yeah. But they made it sound like it was down from the prior month, which was way up from the prior month instead of over. And they didn't even really stress the prior year thing. Because when I read the article myself before you even commented on it, I was like, this doesn't make sense. And I wanted to write the editor. I'm like, what's going on? It's not making sense. But anyway, we're going to get into the numbers, and the Las Vegas housing market has flipped for February, in my opinion. So we're going to dive into it, right?
Roller coaster.
We
are on a roller coaster right now. So let's find out what that means. Because if you checked us out last month, we talked about what happened then, right? Which was the median did go down.
Yes. And by all intents and purposes, we anticipated the median to continue to go down. However, that was not the case for February. But before we get into the median price, we're going to go over how many listings sold for the month of February.
So this is the one area that they did have they probably should have just focused on this, in my opinion. But anyway.
So the number of closings in February was 1,614, which is up 11.7% from the prior month, but down 9.4% from the prior year.
Yeah.
With that said, though,
Yeah, I just feel like they should have focused on that. That's 9-point-something% per year.
Yeah, but if you look at it year over year, in 2025, the closings was 1,781. So it's only under 100 less.
Yeah, way less than 100.
Yeah. No, it's 100.
It's not over 100. Yeah, sorry. It's
150 something. Yeah, 100 change.
Oh my goodness.
So how is that 150 less closings this February over last February, making it 9.4%? That's a huge
huge change. Yeah.
In my opinion.
It's nearly 10%. So that does kind of make sense. Yeah.
But this was the lowest since we've seen in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
In sales, because in 2024 we saw 1,876. 2023 is 1,722.
Another
but 2022 was 2,514, and 2021, of course, was 2,767. But those 2 years were just like right after COVID.
I think I know what's happening here. Do you know what's happening?
No, what's happening?
We've talked about it, and I think that especially when you look at 22 and 21, where you're saying, okay, we had a lot more closings then. That is because there was a lot more of that bedrock. The lower price ranges were buying a lot more property.
True.
And so that gets into also, we'll when we talk about the median price, why things are changing there. And we've talked about that before. But I just think when you're missing big numbers in that lower price range, you're just not getting people who could feel like they can get in and buy right now. And then you're just dealing with people who are a little bit better off and can buy.
Right.
You just don't have the same numbers.
So I have a client that we just went under contract, and we'll go over more about the new construction, but I just wanted to give a prime example. And I got them that 1.99% interest rate the first year, 2.99, 3.99, et cetera. So in a $665,000 home, with them putting $50,000 down, their monthly mortgage payment is still a little over $3,100. That's a lot, in my opinion.
It is a lot. Not bad for that price
even
range.
At a 1.99% first year interest rate. So I think, the average income that someone has to make has to be over $100,000+ in order to find a decent home.
Yeah. It sounds like they're still getting a pretty decent
they're getting a great deal.
Yeah,
yes.
That's a good, but yeah, you're making a great point, especially when we look at the threshold of 5-6 years ago.
Right. But my point is too, is if the median price is whatever that number is, let's say if someone was buying a $400,000 home and they got this great incentive of 1.99, the monthly mortgage would be reasonable. Right.
Yeah.
But if you were to do it with today's number, say 6.5, that's going to be kind of hard for someone buying a $400,000 home.
Yeah. And as you know, many of the people that we work with, they're coming in with a lot of cash to offset that. So if they do have to pay that higher rate, they're only paying it on a certain amount. Not everybody has that ability. That's why in the lower price ranges, where people generally don't have a ton of savings to be able to put it down, that's why it's just not there.
Yeah. So, which would be a perfect segue going into the median price.
All right, let's do it. Because this is, to me, this is where the roller coaster really begins.
Yes. So last month, or I should say in January, the median price was $470,000. Last month now, the median price is $481,995, which was nearly a $12,000 increase in median price, or up 2.6% from the prior month, but still slightly down at 0.6% from the prior year.
Yeah, that was the headline, 0.6% down from the prior year. This is what the RJ was saying, which was ridiculous, because we just went up over, almost $12,000 on the median, and they're complaining or, saying that like 0.6% from the last year. It's like, why are you focused on that? The wild thing is that we went up $12,000 in the median price when we were projected to not go up. I mean, at least you and I thought, like, at least we're going to hold steady.
I don't think I've ever seen the median price in these last 6 months go up and down as much as we've have seen it.
Yep. And I've never seen anything like that. We have seen some pretty drastic movements,
right?
But like this very short period of time, we've seen some real swings happen.
Well, we saw a $19,000 decrease from December to January.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And
then we saw an increase and now a decrease. So it's like a.
Yeah. And 481 is 481.99 995 is like what, $5 off the
No, it was 485.
was it 485? Okay.
Wait, I have a side note.
So 482 might have been the previous record, but it was
488 995.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we went all the way to 488.
Yep.
So, but still, to be $6,000,
$7,000.
$7,000 off of the high out of nowhere, you know. But this does go back to what I've been saying too about what's selling, what people who is buying. You know, these are the people that are buying a little bit higher price ranges, and the lower price ranges are not selling as much.
Right.
So it is adjusting the medium. It is changing that.
Again, the median will probably continue to not really take deep dives unless we see more movement in the interest rates, so that it makes it more affordable for people to buy on that lower end spectrum.
100% agree.
Right.
100% agree.
Okay.
Yeah. It's either prices are going to have to slide down in that area enough. Like basically sellers are going to be like, look, I got to make this deal. I got to sell it. And then you would start to see that people are going to notice that. And then that's going to make sense at these rates, or probably more likely rates change and go down a bit. And that would allow people to get in and buy.
Yeah. I mean, because it would be good to see what percentage people are buying at asking price and how much they're getting it way below asking price. Because again, we know that the median price should be a lot lower than what it's reporting, because we've seen where a lot of the homes, the sellers are not getting what they're asking for. They're getting way less. So it'd be kind of interesting if the MLS would break it down to, well, I'm sure they do. And I'm sure there's a way for me to look at it, what was offered or what it was listed at and what it was bought at.
Yeah. I don't know if we can compile those all together, is what you're kind of saying. Like, how can I just grab all those numbers and just, but they are there. We can look at that. I mean, there's definitely some deals going on in there, but there's still a lot of sellers that are just, they're at where they're at. They don't want to sell for any less. I see a lot of market testers. They come on market at a higher price and see if that works out, and then they drop their price. You and I don't love that approach, but I will say that if you do that, and as long as you're ready to make the right adjustment, you can still get it done.
Right.
I had one that, the comps were there to sell it or to list it at this price, but I knew the property was not, it was a move-in ready, but not updated.
Right.
So I knew that people are going to come in and go, but we tried it out. We weren't getting the action we needed. I said to my client, like, why don't we do this? Look at what it would cost you to do what these people are saying in this feedback, right? Make that uncomfortable move of saying, I'm going to adjust that price based on what those people are saying. And when we did it, boom, we got under contract.
Oh, wow. That's smart.
Yep. I mean, it was a good movement. It was nearly a $25,000 movement on a $550,000 property. But I can tell you my client is very happy that we did that, because they saw the evidence. You could see plain as day. Right. This is what's happening.
I mean, we mentioned this in the prior market update. We're not going to go into great detail because we don't want to sound like a broken record, or maybe we should, is that buyers today want move-in ready homes. They don't want projects where they have to do anything. They want to just be able to come in, even if you as a seller need to paint the interior to a neutral color paint, get rid of your DIY projects. But today's buyers, because of how much money homes are costing, want move-in ready.
Yeah, they don't have gas in the tank, right?
They will have extra money to make it better.
Yeah. So that's why we're like, price it right, price it, sell. You got to have somebody experienced on their side that's seeing those repairs that might be needed, those upgrade dates that are missing, and be able to calculate what it is that the sale price needs to be at. If you're not willing to do that, which some people don't have the money to fix up a property, we get that, right?
Yeah.
But there is a number that's going to work on this market, even if it needs a little bit of love, because people are looking for those deals if it's at the right number.
True. Yeah. Right. And as we did mention too, is that if your home does need those renovations, price it accordingly, and not price it what you think it should sell. Price it, because again, buyers also, if they're not buying move-in ready, they want a deal, and if they will do it themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I just think right now you're playing with a little bit of fire. I don't see big problems for sellers just yet, but as we exit spring, if we see continued pile up in inventory, now inventory has been staying
stagnant.
It's kind of flat. It's good. It's not bad for sellers, but it's kind of what's coming on is getting pulled off a little bit. There's a little trade that's going to happen there. But I think that there's a real possibility still that after spring, that trade-off doesn't continue, and you might see a little, that I just wouldn't want to play with that fire if I'm a seller right now.
And people think this is just all insulated to Las Vegas. This is across the country, folks, that this is happening, and not just a Vegas housing market situation.
I think that's very true. I think Vegas is actually faring well compared to some other places from what I'm hearing.
Right.
So like we're our inventory stay, whereas some other places just aren't as, they don't have even the movement we have.
Right. But it's kind of funny how across the country we experience the same things, and not just insulated to Las Vegas, right?
Yeah. Throughout my career, it was very much market based. Like,
right.
Oh, this area would have this happening. But since COVID,
right.
It's been like the more of a blanket type of market.
Yeah, because I'll see other YouTubers touting the same thing, right? Or saying the same message as what we're saying. So it's more across the board than one insulated area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think maybe that has to do with because people, when they are moving, are making bigger moves. They're moving away from state to another state a lot more. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, because Vegas is so transient, we do get a lot of out-of-staters. Maybe some people that are smaller markets don't get as many out-of-state people as we do.
Yeah.
Does that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of those smaller markets got popular.
Yes.
So some of them, depend. And then sometimes that popularity started shifting away. So that is where we're seeing some differences in markets, where you're seeing some places that got super popular and then suddenly the market died down.
Yeah, like Austin. I heard Austin.
Austin's the one that's a famous one right now.
Yeah. The nice thing about Vegas is its location, because we're pretty much 4 to 5 hours from anywhere, really. California, Arizona, Utah, a couple hours from Utah. So we're centrally located. And the nice thing is we have the international airport that people like to be close to, so they can fly overseas and travel. So there's a lot of pros going for Vegas. And I don't really pay attention to those headliners when it comes to the Strip and the economy per se, with what's going on with the Strip. And actually, I'm kind of dumb about it. I really, when you don't live that world, you don't pay attention to that world.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I think there's a lot of negativity that whether some of it's true or some of it's not true. I've lived here all my life. You've lived here long enough to see what happens on the Strip. Vegas, if anything, I mean, I know there's changes. I know that there's more corporate, but all my life I've seen it be able to adjust to whatever the conditions are, even if it were recessionary or even worse when we had the Great Recession, right? Vegas was able to deal with it. Back. Now, there has been, I think, crazy stuff that I never thought I would see, but also there's some amenities, if you will, some attractions that I never thought I'd see.
Yeah, but the thing is that I grew up here as a kid. Like I said, I wasn't born or raised here, but I grew up here for 35 years, right? And even back in the day, they would advertise $3.99 steak and egg breakfast, and everything was affordable. But I think after COVID, once we started getting the tourists back, the casinos got very greedy and started charging so much on those service fees that, I mean, okay, it costs a lot to book a hotel. Then on top of it, you're charging all these other ancillary fees. I think they got greedy.
Yeah, I mean, the only saving grace is that there might be not a lot of other places you can go that didn't get greedy as well. So vacations are like, okay, well, I could go here. Vegas still might have a deal aspect to it.
Well, they need to bring it back to the old ways of how Vegas was.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that at all. I think,
Vegas was always, affordable when it came to the Strip. And you go down to there's that right next to Circus, there was that beer place that you get dollar beers or whatever. I can't remember.
Oh, Slots of Fun?
Yeah, Slots of Fun.
I've never been there, but I'm so shocked that I never went there.
Yeah, I mean, as I used to, back in my younger days, used to go to the Strip. But of course, I avoid it like the plague. But they need to not be as greedy to get the tourists and keep it that way. Once they start doing business and they change it, that's a bad business motto. they need to keep it consistent and get the tourists back in.
I agree. I think there will be a natural, market adjustment that has to happen if they really are hurting. So far, the percentages that I've seen are not really that big. I think my experience being here all my life, seeing some other times that really there was some real slashes to business on the Strip.
Well, that was COVID.
Yeah, but even prior to that,
right.
Great Recession times, it was really, we've been hit hard and Vegas knew how to deal with it. So when I'm seeing what they're talking about now, and then when I am a Strip adjacent and I'm like, wow, this seems pretty busy over here on a Wednesday,
Right.
I think it's just the threshold that changes. It's like, okay, we really were just booming. And now it's pulled back a little bit. Like, okay, but is that, certain Strip properties are probably like a little worse than others.
Right.
But the big ones, the ones that have really established themselves, it's kind of like being a real estate.
Well, that's why I'm bringing
agent.
it up. It's like being an agent. It's
about
marketing.
It's exactly like that.
Your services and
I think they're in our business. We know that there are agents that aren't making any money. They're not selling any properties.
Right.
But the ones that are established, they're the ones that know how to deal with, changes and sort of anticipate like we like to and need to. We're going to be able to handle whatever changes come.
Exactly. That's why I was bringing it up. It's kind of like similar scenarios or situations.
Yeah. So I really feel that way about Vegas. It'll adjust.
Anyway, so now let's get into the condos. The median price for condos went from, let me see. Oh, I forgot luxury, but we'll go over that in a minute. Where are we? Right here. Increased to $285,000, which was up 0.4% from the previous month, but down 5.9% from the previous year. So last year, this time, the median price for condos was $303,000, and their peak of the market, which I wrote down, was $315 back in October 2024. So condos have also seen that roller coaster ride. Now, at the same token, this is that lower end spectrum that we're talking about, which that doesn't help our median price for single family homes. So
not for SFR.
So my thought, yeah. So condos, it's hard to find a decent condo under 300,000.
And that is probably what's holding condos steady, is that the good ones, that's what you're seeing sell.
Right.
I think even people that are coming here that maybe want those second home, or they're just a lot of people are coming to retire or whatever, they might be doing a townhome, single story. They might be doing a condo on the bottom floor.
Yeah.
They're buying they're buying a nice place ready to go.
Yes.
They also don't want to fix up those condos.
Yeah.
So I think that's also why you would see us holding firm. As I've said many times, condos are often the sort of barometer for where we are economically, because if you see condos dipping and consistently dipping, that's your first sign that you're going to have the rest of the market kind of pull down a little bit.
Right.
But we're not seeing that just yet. We thought we were seeing it a few times.
Yeah.
Condos were steadily dropping, and we saw that we had what was last month's? It was
only up 0.4, so it was only
so small bit.
It wasn't much. I don't remember.
I know we dipped more, but even in 2024, we dipped to 283. So we thought we were seeing that trend go down, and then now it's been holding pretty firm there. So
yeah, between 280 to 300 and change.
Yeah. So really, no like red flag crazy stuff happening in this way. I mean, it's a kind of a surprisingly strong report so far.
Yeah, it wasn't anything like, wow, the market is crashing, the sky is falling. It was pretty, typical for a February market update.
Yeah,
in my opinion. So that takes us to the luxury market, and last month, they sold 154 homes over $1 million, which compared to January's was 134.
Not bad.
So that means they had a 20 home increase. So that could explain why the median price that we saw for the single family is increased by 12,000, because they also increased the amount of luxury homes sold.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Even though the median price what we're going to tell you next dipped a little bit.
Yeah. So the median price for luxury decreased. It went from 1.425 million to 1.385 million, which was a 40,000 dip in median price for the luxury market. But there was more homes sold, so they probably took some cuts on their. They had reductions on theirs.
Yeah, but overall, pretty meaningless. When we see the movement on luxury.
It's usually around that amount. Yeah, it's very minimal when it comes to luxury. But I think that's why, if you were to really analyze the numbers, why the median price, I think, increased by 12,000 was because we had more higher end sales sell, bringing that median price higher.
Absolutely, for sure. And you're going to look, if you really deep dived into the numbers, you'd see like the 800,000 properties would be, there'd be more of those, you know, those nicer properties. Those are the ones that are selling.
Yep. And also you got to think, in Summerlin, pretty much all the new homes there are in the $1 million+ range. Yeah. So I know we're not talking about new construction yet, but while it's in my head, Lennar Fairview, which is an all single story, around 3,900 community with next gen suites. They're starting at 1.8, 1.9, and with everything in it, over $2 million.
Okay.
In Summerlin.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's also where everybody wants to be. So I would also venture to say that, again, Summerlin's ticking along, staying strong.
And they're selling them.
And they're selling, yeah.
They're selling.
So, I mean, some of these wouldn't be on the MLS because they're new builds, but nonetheless, that area, stuff comes up and it goes by.
And the funny thing is when, do you remember the Arches?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did you have a listing in there? No.
No, I had a couple of almost sales in there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's another single story, larger home by Lennar in the Red Point Village. And when they first opened, they were like 800,000-900,000. And by the time they closed that community, they're at 1.1 million, 1.2 million. So it's interesting to think that these homes in Fairview, not that they're the same floor plans, but the idea of the floor plans are the same, with the next gen suite and the 3-car garage, 3,900 square feet. But now they're starting at 1.8, 1.9, and $2 million.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to think how far things have come in 3 to 4 years in that little Summerlin quadrant.
They're going to maximize everything they can get out of that area. Yeah. I just, I know they're not selling like boom, 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 but they're selling.
They're selling.
That area is selling. Yeah. So,
I mean, a lot of the communities over there in the Grand Park Village are closing out. They're on their last lots left.
It's the talk of the town.
Yeah.
That area is the talk of the town. Like I play tennis a lot, so I meet a lot of people that come in. I unfortunately meet them after they move here sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And they're talking about, that area. Either they look there or they bought there.
Right.
So they always talk about the park,
Mm-hmm.
and the and maybe they were here a year ago and checked things out. And then they were like, I came back and I couldn't believe that,
Yeah. How much it's grown. It's grown fast.
Yeah.
All right, folks, let's get back to the numbers. The number of new listings. We had 2,925 new listings last month, which was down 7% from the prior month, but up 4.5% from the prior year. So that's kind of interesting that we didn't have that many listings.
That is a headline, in my opinion.
Yes.
You got the springtime where we're entering spring,
right?
And we saw less properties come on the market. Well, that some of that could be sellers doing what I think both of us prescribed at the beginning of the year, which was get your property on a little earlier. Don't take the chance of being within all the
right.
Well, we weren't necessarily wrong to tell people to do that because it's been pretty strong for people.
It was good for February.
Yeah, but it may be that we don't see as much pile up during our springtime as we might have anticipated.
Yeah, and that's kind of sad because, yes, we do have more inventory than we've had in a while, or not in a while, but we were hanging in there.
We just have,
we haven't gone down and we haven't gone up.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the inventory that is out there, I have a handful of buyers that I check in, but nothing is popping up because, again, what do buyers want? They want move-in ready. They don't want to fix it up. They want pristine, clean, updated, yada, yada, right? And
100%.
the houses that are coming on the market don't match with what they're looking for. And they're not in the low, they're in Summerlin, right? They're great price points. It's just nothing is coming up that's great.
Yeah, you got a two-headed horse there, if you will, or whatever. I don't know, a two-headed monster, because you have the properties that are there. They're either overpriced or they need a lot of work, and then you've got buyers that don't want to deal with either of those things.
Right.
So the more picky buyers,
yep,
and less of the ready to go, awesome homes that you'd like to see.
Yep.
And when they do show up, those awesome homes, that's also why we're seeing, these numbers the way we are. They sell.
But if you look at the prior year's numbers, this is right in line. So 2,900, 2,925. Last year was 2,799. The year before was 25. So we're actually more than the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have thought that we would have seen more listings because, again, we're heading right into that spring selling season. And we always believe to list it early. Right.
Yeah.
And especially hopefully March we'll get more listings on the market.
Especially with the conditions right now. There are some, it may not affect us for a little while, but there's a whole bunch of February news from, economically that like worries people and starts to go, oh, what's happening? You got
yeah,
war.
don't mention that.
I mean, yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
So there's things that are lurking.
The things that are lurking could put a kibosh because of being scared on people wanting to purchase right now because of what's going on globally, and without saying anyone's names or anything.
Yeah, there's two ways people will look at this. They'll be scared. They'll see opportunity. There'll be less people. The rare people will see the opportunity.
Right.
But those people that are scared and back off will make room for people that are looking for opportunity.
At least I don't live in Mar-a-Lago. No, just kidding. Anyway, folks, let's get back to the numbers. So we have 6,131 single family homes listed without offers, which is only down 1% from the prior month, but up 17.2% from the prior year. So we didn't go up much drastically month over month, right?
Right.
But last year, this time we had 5,229 listings without offers. But, and we've seen it where it's only 1,000 and 1,200, but 6,000's been hanging in there. It's better than the 9, 10, 11,000 that we saw. What was
in October?
In October?
11,200 overall.
Yep.
Which would have been probably single family would have been closer to like 9,000 or something.
Yeah, you're probably right. So 6,000 still there. And these are the ones that are hanging around. They've been on the market for days, 100 days, 200 days, 300 days, and the sellers aren't getting the right message. Most of these sellers are not balking. They won't accept anything.
Yeah, they might still feel bearish beginning of the spring, but how are they going to feel at the end of the spring?
Right.
Will it turn bullish? Or wait, am I reversing that? Bullish, bearish? I think I'm reversing.
Yeah.
They feel bullish.
Yes.
They might feel bearish later.
Right. Yeah, because if it's still after a year being on the market and it hasn't sold, there's something wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you really want to get it done and then you start piling up other concerns,
You guys are quiet. If you have any questions about the market, or if you're a seller looking to sell, or if you have your home already on the market, what are you seeing?
Yeah, what's your experience? I mean, I love hearing from people that are going through things. It's always a bummer that we're not representing them, but at the same time, I am always excited to talk to people about real estate, hear what they have to say, their experiences right now.
Exactly. If you're a buyer and you can't find your home, why is that? Are you experiencing the same things that we're mentioning?
Yeah. Why are you watching today? Is there an answer that you're looking for from us? We'd love to be able to chat with you about that right here.
Exactly. Okay. So now that brings us to months of supply. And we went from 4.3 months of inventory in January to 3.8 months of inventory in February, which was down 11.3%, but still up 29.4% from the prior year.
Yeah, again, that's a good sign.
But I don't even trust the months of supply anymore because of their
it's a weird formulation. Yeah. I do like that it's 3/8
because
that's my birthday.
Yeah, true. True.
I've been on my on our things at the end here. I put a lot of 3/8 in there. Remember? Anyway,
I think I said 3/8 and I won.
Oh,
we'll have to see. But then
you dirty.
47.6% of the closings was on the market 30 days or less. The prior month was 41.8, and from the prior year this time 53.2.
That's actually a nice little movement there.
It did increase a little by 6%.
Yeah. So that means there were more properties that sold within
30 days.
That's a good sign.
I think that number will go up for March just because it's that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
And the nice houses that are priced right, updated nicely in a great location are still seeing some multiple offers.
Yep.
It's just, good luck with it.
Yeah. I have buyers that are under contract, and there was another one across the street that we tried to get. It was priced a little lower. We ended up working a deal on the one that because the seller saw the writing on the wall, but the one that we tried to go after had multiple offers.
Wow.
Because they priced it right.
Wow.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So now we're going to go over what we've been starting to go over the last few months. And in January, we saw this major movement, and we were causing a concern of how the market was heading. However, for February, we didn't see as intense movement as we did in January. So that's good news.
That's good news for overall market. Maybe not good news that people are looking for if they want to get in and find deals.
But I have Lena, my assistant. She's doing a short sale deal, and she went under contract maybe November, December last year.
Oh,
and it's still.
Oh yeah,
it's still
short sale is not a short sale.
It's not a deal.
It's not a short sale. I just had a client come back to me. This is kind of wild. I'll very quickly tell you. Client come back to me from years ago that I closed. God, it had to have been 2011 or something that I closed it. It was a short sale back then. I got him like $50,000 from the bank.
Wow.
It was the highest I ever got somebody for a short sale back then. But I just remember that. And he was like, I couldn't fight. My mom held your card. He actually went to jail. Really sad.
Oh.
But his life has been great since then. He had a lot of stuff. Anyway, he found his mother found the card like stashed away. And he's like, funny. I'm ready to buy again. This is 15 years later or whatever.
Wow.
Or not 15, but almost.
Yeah.
And anyway, beautiful story. Apparently that money really helped him when he got out of jail. Yeah, I was having him sign documents from jail.
Right.
Oh, you want to talk some tough times? Anyway, short sales are not short.
No. So with that being said, the REO or real estate owned property there's only 59, where last month was 58. So there was only one increase. So the month before we just saw like huge.
We saw double.
We were like, what's going on? Yeah. So short sale last month was 88. For January was 82. So there was only a 6 difference. And then for foreclosed being commenced, that means that they're starting to the foreclosure process. They're not foreclosed. For February was 52, and for January 41, so 11 difference. So total distressed properties currently being commenced and REO and short sales 199, whereas last month it was 181. So there's an 18 decrease or increase in difference.
So yes, we are seeing some more come on.
Yes, but not drastic.
We didn't see a doubling like what we saw prior month. That was a concern.
Right.
Now, it's still something we'll want to keep an eye on. I would say these numbers are definitely not crazy.
Yes.
They're not something to worry about unless you see us talking about it in a month from now that we doubled again.
Exactly.
Then that's why it's great that we'll keep track of this. I think with all of the negative news out there, you want to know the real truth. You want to know the numbers that are happening.
Yeah, and this is 199 in Las Vegas, Henderson, and North Las Vegas. That does not include all of Southern Nevada, like Laughlin, Pahrump, etc. This is just all of Las Vegas, Henderson, and North Las Vegas for 200, almost 200 distressed properties out of how many? 6,000? No, more than that. 7,000
on total market is like 9,400.
That's not bad.
Yeah. No, that's like nothing.
That's nothing.
I mean, it's sad that there's some people going through distress, but
correct.
You'll always find that. The only time you didn't find it is when they weren't allowing it. Like during COVID times, they said, we won't.
Yeah, you did the forbearance instead.
So,
and that's funny because a lot of people thought after those forbearances were over that you would see an inundated, a flooded market of these type of distressed properties, and we never saw it.
You didn't see it, and I can tell you several reasons why. One big reason is because a lot of people had equity, so they were able to buy themselves time. If they were still in trouble, they could sell that property, and even though they had like back end stuff that got added to their mortgage,
right,
they were still able to pay that off and make some money. So people that really were in the ditch had that opportunity, and I think most of them still do. The interesting thing is that we have so many short sales, because the short sale is a property that's selling short of what's owed on the property. So if you're selling, you don't have any equity.
right.
So it's when I see that number, I think those are very recent buyers that unfortunately got into trouble, and probably a mix of people who over leveraged. But the fact that the bank would over leverage a property and even allow you to do that is kind of insane.
Yeah, unless they did it like a second mortgage.
But even just to allow that second mortgage,
right?
That's the bank not learning
well,
their
because
lesson, in my opinion.
When I've been working with a lot of buyers, and I always look to see when they bought it, how much they bought it for, and sellers aren't making much equity. If not, they're losing, and so that's probably why they have to do the short sale. Yes. Because they can't sell it what they bought it for.
If they bought it more recently, right? Yeah. There's just no, there's a little bit of fees. So, that.
Oh, yay. Matt asked a question before we get into new construction.
Matt. Oh, you want me? Okay.
Yeah, right.
For me, I have seen sellers not willing to budge on price.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear more about that. We definitely see that with our clients. We will submit offers that we think are reasonable. We're basing it off of a number of things. I'm sure, Matt, you're probably seeing like, okay, this property's been on X amount of time.
Right.
It's time for me to dive in. I like the property. I'm going to give them this offer.
Yeah.
I'm going to make my offer. And they're like, no. There are definitely those sellers that are just not, they're just stubborn.
We've very stubborn buyers. I mean, sellers, sorry. Yeah.
Well, you're meeting both. You're meeting stubborn buyers, but stubborn buyers have reason for their stubbornness.
Yeah. And then, sometimes stubborn sellers, when it comes to like the repairs aspect of it, and if the buyers are asking for repairs, either you do one or two things: fix it all, or give them credit and compensate that credit to be sufficient enough to cover the repairs that need to be fixed. Don't nickel and dime it, because I've lost a deal because the seller was not willing to fix the items and only give a very small credit.
Yeah, you've got, some of these properties that are 800 or $1 million plus, that you're dicking around over some, small potatoes. I understand some sellers are like, that's not broken. That's not what I think,
right.
But if you're smart and your agent is smart, there's ways to shape that negotiation and make everybody happy.
I think the most smart advice I can give a seller today is, before you list your home, have a home inspection first, because then you can look at those things and you can nip those things in the bud when it comes to requests for repairs from the buyer. Because now, if there's minimal items that are wrong with your home, the buyer's gonna be like, wow, this is a perfect house. There's nothing to be taken care of. You know what I mean?
It definitely sends a signal.
Yeah.
It sends that signal that the home is taken care of.
Maintained.
It's ready to sell. Mm-hmm. I think buyers definitely react to that in this market, because they're going, I just saw one, I have to spend X amount to buy. Now I walked into this one and I realized that, the light switches were clean, and like all the little details were taken care of. And I looked under the sink and I didn't see that, that water damage that was still left there, things like that, whatever, that sends all the signals.
Yep.
Yep.
Because buyers don't want any of that deferred maintenance. Again, what do buyers want? Which we've been saying throughout this entire video. They want move-in ready. They want it spick and span. They want it clean. And if you're a proactive seller, then you need to get in there and make sure that all the deferred maintenance has been taken care of.
Yeah, and it's a big part of what I do. I know what you do. When you get a listing, we're trying to hunt down the trouble before we have it.
Exactly.
We want to get in there and see what we can avoid and make that presentation. You're presenting, you're putting a property on the stage, right? And when you watch a show, you want a show, right? You don't want to see some, like behind the scenes crap, right? You don't want to know, oh, that's how they did that. No, hide that, like not hide, but get it ready. Yeah. Get it ready. Put it on the stage and get it in and rock,
Yeah. Damien and I just did a video. We posted it on my channel last week on sellers. It's kind of like sellers beware. If your home isn't selling, this is a hard truth. So it's something that you need to watch with the seller. We're not going to get into detail because we've done this before. Yeah. Why homes aren't selling. But Matt asked another.
Yeah.
Said something. I made an offer on a townhome at what's ARV? Oh, 76 offered 220, but then countered 244. It has 40K in repairs needed. Wow, my offer was fair, and it has been on the market for 7 months. Yeah, I would have been that aggressive of an offer, but sellers are stubborn. Wow, it needs 40,000 in repairs, or is that 40,000 in renovations?
Well, yeah, it's probably both. He's probably going, I need to put $40,000. Matt, you're saying you feel you need to go in and put $40,000 into this property. And so you felt like, let me start here. Now, I got to tell you, Matt, you did the right thing because you got this, and your agent obviously told you, like, hey, this is probably where they'll at least counter us. We will get their attention enough. They've been on the market for 7 months. They came down to 244. I wouldn't give up on it. I would maybe go if they're still hanging out, go back in and try another time. Now, you may need to have a little bit of room you can move around on.
Right.
But if they're still hanging around, the negotiations are taking longer.
Buena Vista Drive, isn't that in the Pueblo? Is that the Pueblo townhomes right over here off of Lake Mead in Buffalo, Matt?
Yeah, I recognize that for sure. Yeah.
All right, you want to read the John?
Sure.
Allen?
Think this is compounded by, he says, or they say, yeah. John says, think this is compounded by new development being more flexible due to higher margin. People want homes that are dialed and feel like new development is more attractive. I agree completely. Many people are magnetized to brand new homes. And for that reason, they don't want the deferred rate maintenance. They are getting these deals as far as the interest rate is concerned. They are feeling like the seller, as in the builder, has given them, made them feel like they're getting something out of it. There's some deal there.
Right.
And people want to feel that.
Yeah. Because buyers, they want to feel like they got a deal.
Right now, absolutely.
They want to feel like they
got a deal. I don't blame you.
But the only, I think, con for buying a new construction home, which I love selling new construction homes, is especially when you get into these higher price ranges, is the property taxes. Typically on a new construction home, we're not based on the traditional average 0.4, whatever it is for property taxes. It's usually 1% of total purchase price. So if you bought a $1.2 million home, your property tax is going to be $12,000 a year. So that's the only caveat for buying a new construction home versus a resale home.
Yeah.
Because a resale home, if you bought a 1.2, you're probably spending a fraction of the price, like $4,000, if that.
Yeah, they hit you right away when you get the new home.
New bathroom stairs, exactly, good idea. I'll follow up in a few months. Nope, Arville and Desert Inn. Okay.
Arville and Desert Inn. Yeah, I thought I recognized that.
Okay.
By Moon Doggies. I know a bartender or two that work at Moon Doggies. They have forever.
Yeah, 89117 is better because if that's 89147, it's like.
Yeah, that's my area. 89117. Love that area for you, but probably going to be harder to find what you're looking for in that price range up there. Just a little bit harder. I am very surprised. Are those single story ones over there by Desert Inn? I think they might be. Those are all right. They're like gated and stuff, and
yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's not that's my favorite
further down.
area,
Arville's more down towards the freeway, right?
Yeah, my old house, my first house was. But
that wouldn't be 89117. That no, it wouldn't be 89147.
He just said I like that area.
That'd probably be 8910.
It's 89102, 89110. I can't remember.
No, it would be 2.
Yeah,
89169, but I don't think so.
No. That was where my first home was, a little north of there. But not my favorite area to live in. So maybe the universe is telling you that you don't need to be there. You didn't hear that from me. I don't know.
All right. So thoughts on Summerlin West? Seems to be a lot of hype around this area, but seems to be a large baked in premium already. What does that mean? Large baked in premium.
Well, he's just saying you're paying a premium to be in Summerlin West.
Yes.
Absolutely. The hype is real, though.
102, yep.
Okay. So the hype is real about Summerlin, as you've talked about, as you've done many videos on the difference in over time, what these properties are evaluating as, the equity gain is happening in these areas. So there's definitely a reason. It's not just hype, but it is a very popular place. So when there's a line at the door, for some reason, people just love it.
Right. Well, and also too is like, because of the location, you have beautiful, wherever you are in part of Summerlin West, or at least if you go further up towards the mountains, you have beautiful mountain views, and you also have beautiful strip views. Now, as they encroach closer to Red Rock Mountains, those prices are going to be continuing to go up. But as Rob said, especially in, say, Grand Park Village, they've seen tremendous equity gain already, and they've only been open a year and 2 months. I've done a video not too long ago on all the equity gains. This was like a few months ago, and all the equity gains in the Kestrel Village. So the hype is there, the desirability is there, and the equity gains are there.
And there's more to build.
Yes.
And there's some super high-end homes going up in there.
Yeah.
Properties. You don't even want to call them homes.
And you also have that Primo Astra that's going to be up there, which is a luxury custom home community where some of the lots are $3 million just for the lot.
Yeah. Because
of how elevated it is. And man, some of those views are just friggin' phenomenal.
They're going to be spectacular, and it's going to be spectacular money. So if it's me, I like buying that smaller home, whether you're going to have some bigger homes around me. Those bigger homes will always carry the smaller homes. And that's what that area is sort of built around.
And plus the land is a lot more expensive than, say, you can find the same house, especially like Pulte, for a fraction of the price across the valley. However, you're paying for the location, the land, because, when Howard Hughes sells it to the builders, it's not cheap. He charges millions and millions of dollars. Not he, but the corporation charges millions and millions for that plot of land for however many acres it is.
Yeah, and they do have some higher rated schools. They've also got the private schools that are very close by, the Temple schools. You got an infrastructure that's hard to beat up there.
Yeah. Once Urban Core, the shopping center's there, then it would be Primo, because that was the one thing, and I've done a video on the pros and cons of living in Summerlin West, is the commercial aspect of it, because all you really have is off of Desert Foothills in Charleston is that one shopping center and maybe a couple elementary schools, but that's it.
Yeah, but it's not bad. A little freeway ride over to, get to Trader Joe's downtown. You got
everything there.
All kinds of stuff right around the corner. And if it's coming, which it is, then again, that goes to my point about, like, you buy now, you're pretty much secure that your equity is going to be building as you go along.
Right. Oh, excuse me. Okay, let's get into new construction. Now, the builders, they haven't let up on their incentives. Let me tell you, they're offering some really smoking deals right now still. And if you know anything about me, when I work with my new home sales and move-in ready homes, I can get some really good deals. And you've heard about some of the good deals I've gotten. Like this last one, a client's buying in Sandpiper. The asking price was like $721. We got it down to $665. Plus, we got some closing costs covered. Plus, we got it to a 2-to-1 buy down, where the first year is 1.99, the second year 2.99, and years 3 through 30, 3.99. So when you look at new construction homes, before you even look, you need to bring your real estate agent with you on the very first visit so they can register you. Or if you do go look without your agent, let them know that you're being represented and tell them who's representing you.
Yeah. You got to know inside information that they're not telling you. And unless you're working with somebody who's been, hanging on these ropes and dealing with them, you're not going to know.
Yep. Okay, so right now, Century Communities is having, they're having their event where it's a 5-to-1 arm on a FHA and VA loan on select move-in ready Century Community Homes when you use their affiliated lender Inspire Home Loans. Get 3.75% interest rate for years 1 through 5, and then after year 6 it adjusts. And also get $3,000 towards closing costs. Must go under contract from now until March 17th and close by the end of this month.
Gotta move.
Now, Lennar's, this one expired. But Lennar is always changing. And if you want to know the most current one, just reach out to me and I'll reach out to the sales rep to get the most up to date. This one ended yesterday and they haven't posted a new one yet. Richmond Americans having their Start Smart on their quick move-in homes. They have 3 different options. They have a 2-to-1 buy down on a special 30-year fixed conventional loan. Get 2.99 for the first year, 3.99 the second year, and 4.99 from years 3 through 30. Still great interest rates, right?
Yeah.
Then they have the FHA 5-to-1 adjustable ARM mortgage. Get 3.75% for the first 5 years, and then after year 6, it adjusts.
Very simple.
As well as the conventional 7-to-6 adjustable ARM, which you get 3.99 the first 7 years, and then after year 8, it adjusts.
Yeah. So buy it and then call us at year 7 to sell it.
Yep.
No, but you definitely want to refi.
Which, speaking of 7, I just hit my 7-year house anniversary in this house.
Congratulations.
After this year would mark the longest I've ever lived in a home.
Yeah.
What was the longest you've ever lived in a home?
I was in my first home for, I think 11 or 12 years. I'm already in this home. This is like...
yeah, you've been in a long time now.
18, so 8 years.
Oh, you bought it in 18?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I bought this in 19.
Yeah, so 8 years in my home now. It's time just...
I know.
I can't believe I'm 10 years from 40. That's just...
You mean 60?
10 years from 40, and then I guess 10 years from 60. Thanks. Thanks a lot.
I got you beat. Rob joined the 50s club. I'll be turning 52 this year, so
you would never know it, right? Never know
52.
It. I don't know what we're doing, but we're doing something right.
Yeah. And the last builder is Toll Brothers on their quick move-in homes. They have the 2-to-1 buy down. They've had this one for a minute. And Pulte used to do the same one, but I haven't seen Pulte do deals anyway. But anyway, get the buy down and close by April 30th. So for the first year, 3.375, the second year, 4.375, and from years 3 through 30, 5.375. So that's good. But again, if you buy a Toll Brothers home that's over the jumbo loan amount, you have to put a good chunk of down payment to make it a non-jumbo traditional conventional loan.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, many buyers are doing that for many reasons. That's another reason to do it.
Yeah.
I will say this just real quick about Toll Brothers. When we don't mention Toll Brothers, that's when your obvious sign that the builders are very strong and don't want to be giving too many deals anymore.
Yeah, because Toll Brothers never gave interest rate incentives.
Yep.
And they have some new communities coming out. There's going to be one in Summerlin West, and I'm going to be posting a video very soon of all the new construction coming soon to Summerlin West in the La Madre Peaks Village. It's called Reflection Ridge, which is going to be the 2-story 3,300 to 3,800 single-family homes.
Okay.
And where it's located, I think it's going to have some really good views. So if you want to know more about that community, call to get you in. So we can get some views, because most people that call me, what do they want? They want views.
Yeah, they come from places that have views, and they're bringing us a bucket of cash.
Yeah.
So
there's another one. There's an all single story community. I forgot what it's called in the Northwest, and that's pretty cool. It's the larger. It's only going to be like 12 homes, but they're going to have RV garages. So I like that these builders are doing more RV garages. I wish they would incorporate them in Summerlin, but unfortunately Summerlin doesn't allow it. The only community that has the RV garage is Heritage, which is a 55 plus. But I think if Lennar was allowed to allow RV garages, then I would buy it all day long.
Yeah. Yeah. Summerlin not gonna find that product there,
because there's a lot of people. My new thing, and then we'll get into the bets. I really love van life. I'm addicted to van life on YouTube, and I'm thinking about buying one of the Sprinter vans that look like a stealthy thing, and then you can go camping that has the bathroom and the toilet and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Well, before we get into the bets, again, we love all your comments. If you have any questions, let us know.
Thank you for the comments. We hope we were able to properly respond to them.
Yes. So now, median price. Rob said a $3,800 decrease. I said $1,000 increase, and Damien said $1,000 decrease, and it increased by almost $12,000. So I won that bet. And I can understand where you thought it would decrease. We thought maybe we're in that trajectory, but I also thought at the same time, that's why I said increase, because we are heading into the spring selling season.
Yeah.
Without offers,
it's a roller coaster.
Rob said 6,350. I said 6,300. Damien said 6,200, and it was 6,131. And
that was the surprise.
Damien won that one.
I think these next two are the surprise for me.
Yeah, months of supply. Rob said 4.2. I said 3.8. Damien 3.6, and I won that one at 3.8.
I should have said 3.8.
I don't know what you were thinking.
I think I had to go
because you had 3,800. I went first. You went first.
I did go first, huh?
Yeah.
Because what was it? 3.8 months last month anyway. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Good job.
You finally won.
It's been
I remember 1 year I had it where I was like winning all the time.
Yeah.
I won like 6 months in a row.
Yeah. I think I just had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
But it's a guessing game.
Yeah, it is. It's just fun to do.
Yeah.
Where
it is fun.
At?
You should do it along with us. If any of you want to drop in a comment,
yeah, that's why
you think.
Damien had to be included, because he wanted to, follow along with us.
Yeah, it's fun, right? So, what do you guys think? Where do you think things will go?
Yep. All right, so you get to go first on median price.
Median price. Boy, that's a tough one. I don't think it's increasing. I'm just going to go flat.
Flat.
Yeah. But I could be dead wrong. It's such a guess right now. It's such a wild.
I'm going to say it's going to increase again.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, I'm just going to be safe and say $1,000.
Yeah, you can easily prices right me there. We'll see what Damien does. Damien's going to come over and go 1,500.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So then months or without offers, I think, as we saw, we had sales, very little listings. So it's like balancing, right? Not much is going down and not much is going up. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to say without offers, 6,100.
All right. I'm just going to 6,200.
Okay. Months of supply.
But you're probably right. It's going to dip. Months of supplies. For 3.8. I might as well just say 3.8 again. I don't know. What the hell?
I'll just go 3.7.
All
right. It's just hard.
Yeah, I think it should, if that calculation works as well as it should. Yeah. It should be pretty similar.
Yeah.
They're like the outlook.
Oh, here's Damon's numbers. Let's write them down.
Damien's got what?
5K up.
5K. See?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I knew he was.
Uh-oh.
He's giving you some room to win.
5,000 increase.
He's giving you some room to win, which is
6,300. And then months of supply, 3.9. Okay. Anyone else want to play along? I can write it down.
Yeah, and then join us for the next show.
Yes. If you are thinking about buying or selling here in the Las Vegas Valley, I've posted all our information down in the description below, as well as the link to Rob's YouTube channel.
Thank you.
All that good stuff. But, Rob's been in the business since, gosh, how many years?
2009.
2009.
Late 2009.
So what does that put you at, 15?
I'm going 16. Is it? Yeah, it's almost 17 years.
Wow.
This year. Later this year, it'll be 17.
I'll be hitting the 10-year mark.
Congratulations.
Yeah, when we first met.
I think you were.
I was only 4 years in.
Yeah, 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Anyway, folks, make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Rock on.
And do it peacefully. And we'll see you on the next one. Ah.